So this is why today I'm going to have an opportunity for you guys to hear from a couple other people than just me. So will you guys give a very warm welcome to two leaders in our church that are so precious to this church family. They do so much for us. Jay and Lori Tompkins. And thank you guys for being willing to do this. Have you guys ever met Jay and Lori?
Yeah.
They are awesome. They are so great.
Hello.
So here's if either of you want to sit.
Stand.
Okay, perfect. Jay, you can come right over here so that it's blasted by the light.
Yeah, thank you.
And so, how long have you guys been married?
43 years.
Wow.
How long have you known him?
49.
49?
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What took you so long?
I know.
So they are a huge blessing, and obviously all glory is to the Lord. But they play a pivotal role in our church. You guys have probably seen them around the halls doing all kinds of stuff, helping out. And so listen to the advice they give, but why don't you guys start with sharing just a little bit about your story, about how you guys maybe started dating and all of that
You sure
stuff.
You want to hear it?
And then for sure.
I'm going to start because it's two different scenarios. I met
It's the
him.
same thing.
It is, but just wait. I met him. I was 13. His buddy
Matt.
was dating my really good friend, and so I took my two little nieces with Aunt Jane, and we went to see this movie called Herbie Rides Again, old movie. And I know, it's dating myself way back then. And so we're sitting in the movie theater, and then behind us shows this man, this cute guy with long hair, blonde, and his buddy. And I had not met him. And they just showed up because Matt wanted to see Aunt Jane.
I was just going along for the
So
ride.
we watched the movie, then we said our goodbyes,
Mhm.
and I took my nieces home, and probably an hour later there was a knock on the door, and him and another friend showed up in my house. And so came in, and we were sitting at the kitchen table, and I was thinking, gosh, he's cute. And I was asking him all about things, but really his buddy wanted to know if I would go to this amusement park called Waldameer with him. And so as a friend, I was like, sure. And then a little bit later, then Jay, I saw him, and he asked me out on a date.
Well, this is the Bruce's part.
Well, that was a date though. He asked me to go to this party. And so to me, that's a date. And he picked me up, and my entire family was on the front porch.
Oh, that's crazy.
My grandmother, it was great.
Kids,
Everybody, my
diapers
nieces,
running around.
yep. So he pulls up in a little Carmen Ghia, and I'm thinking he's taking me on a date because he asked me to go with him. And we went to this party, and I knew some people. And then he asked me if this other kid could take me home. And I was like, no. For one thing, you asked me, I don't go with one guy and go home with another. That doesn't work, no. So, that was our first date, but I really thought it was a date. Now I'll let you tell it. He will tell you what it was.
Well, I went and I had a buddy, Bruce. Was it Bruce or? Yeah, Bruce. Bruce was throwing a party. And Bruce hasn't met you yet, but it was Wayne and I came over.
Oh, was it Wayne?
Yeah, Wayne and I came over to invite her to a party. I was like, oh yeah, why don't you come along? So you were coming along to the party, and Bruce is like, oh, I really like, at the party, Bruce really like, I really like her. Like, well, I just brought her to the party.
Take her home.
Knucklehead me. Well, it didn't happen. I ended up taking you home.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning.
But
That's
he
the beginning.
later, what was it to you? He said it was a joke.
It was kind of a
It
joke.
was a joke. So,
I was a knucklehead. I was really a knucklehead. I
So,
still
yeah.
kind of am, but I'm learning.
yes. So that's
So,
how we met.
We met at the movie theater.
Yes.
Herbie Rides Again.
And then my first date, his joke, was a party.
Yeah. But,
Who has the last laugh go now?
yeah, it's worked out great. It's worked out great. That's
Nice.
how we met.
So what led to you guys being in a dating relationship and then eventually getting married?
Wow.
So we dated, so this was,
I was
we were
born
at
in-
two different high schools. So that was a little bit of a challenge, two different high schools and same, of course, same town. And we dated, and then my senior year in high school,
We're 2
That's
years
like-
behind. I was a sophomore. Like when we
Yeah,
dated,
we're
I was
2 years
going
apart.
into high school. He was already
yeah.
in high
So
school.
my senior year, your sophomore year, I was like, I don't know if this is it. And I'm a senior and I'm gonna be going away to college and I'm like, you know, I need like some freedom to kind of see what else is out there. And that didn't go over too well. But,
It didn't.
so we broke up that was like middle of the senior year. And then I went off to college.
We got back together.
Really like halfway through freshman year.
Mhm.
I was like, this is crazy. There's no one, cause I was writing her letters.
Yeah.
I like couldn't get her out of my mind. She went to Germany that
I
summer.
had gone, yep, to
And I'm
visit my
writing.
brother.
Of course, my friends are all like, oh, you know, she went out with so and so, or she went out with so and so. You want me to go beat him up? And I'm like, whoa, take it easy. But it was after we broke up for, I don't know, about a year.
Probably a year, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I think she's the one. And then we dated then for probably a couple of years before I asked.
No.
A year.
Yeah, about
A year after that. Then I asked you to marry me, and I asked her father. That was nerve-wracking, very nerve-wracking. He
But
was
really,
easy,
my
her
mother
mother
was-
was tough. She was the tough one.
Yes. My mother said, because I was a senior in high school at that point in time when he asked me to marry him. And my mom was like, and he used to bribe my mom.
I didn't
He
bribe
worked
her,
at
I
a
just brought home
bakery in
stuff. I
high
worked
school.
at a bakery,
And
she
he'd
loved
bring her
bakery
goodies every
stuff, so I would bring her
Friday
home
night.
scraps of bakery goods.
But she did love Jay, and so did my dad. But she was like, you have got to get an education, and you cannot have a diamond on that finger until you graduate from high school.
Graduate from, yeah,
High school.
yeah, high school.
Wow,
And
so
then
you were a
went to-
senior in
I was a
high
senior in
school
high school, and yeah. and
when he asked your
Yeah.
dad.
See,
Yeah.
what he failed to tell, like,
What
I
did I
would
miss?
drive by his house, even when we were broken up, you know, like I wasn't stalking him, but, I mean, I drive by. But honestly, I really felt like I was gonna marry him. I'd be like, I am gonna marry you someday. And
And
God
here
brought
we
that
are.
around, yeah.
Wow. So did you guys get engaged when you were?
I was,
senior?
yeah, he asked me to marry him, and with no ring, but he took me
Yeah,
out.
couldn't afford a ring.
Yeah. He
I
took
finally
me,
got one.
he took me out to this.
Well, until
really-
mom was like, you have to get her a ring. So, I think it was like, yeah,
It was like-
$180. We finally got that together and got a ring.
Yeah.
It was tough.
I still have it in my drawer,
It
that's
was
at
tough.
the time, I
That was
used
a
to,
few years ago.
I thought it was the biggest diamond ever.
It's
I
like a
remember
chip.
on the
It's like a
airplane,
little
like
diamond
looking at
chip.
my ring, and the woman said next to me, like, oh, and I was like, I just got engaged, like I got my ring. That was the summer after I graduated, but it was really tiny, but I still keep it. He upgraded me a few times. but,
So how long after that did you guys get married?
So we got married, so I finished my bachelor's degree, which is 4 years after high school.
I went
You
to
finished
an
your
associate's.
associate's degree. So I graduated on one day, you graduated like 2 days later, and then the following weekend we got married.
And then right after, then we moved, and I'd never.
Yeah, this is great.
lived-
So we got married, she had never left her house.
I mean,
Like, you know,
I
that
went
was
to
the house she was
visit
born
like
in.
my siblings, you know, because I was the youngest, but I never lived away from home. I went to a in-town college, so I stayed home and saved
My
money.
family moved like 20 times, so we moved all over the northeast United States.
So it was
So we got married and like, we got married on like, I think it was Saturday, and then Sunday morning we got up, we started driving off to the honeymoon up in New England.
I
She cried the
cried.
whole way. It's brutal.
It was the first time I was leaving like my
oh,
home.
this isn't
I'd
good.
never left.
It's a
like,
rough
to
start.
Leave.
It's a rough start.
But I didn't cry all the way, probably maybe 3 hours.
No, it just felt like a
Just,
long
you know,
time.
trickles,
It
you
felt
know,
like a long time.
trickles.
It felt like a long time.
Yeah. I know.
How did you feel, Jay?
Terrible. I was like, oh, and me, where do we go? Where did we go? Well, we went up into, upper Maine along the coast for our honeymoon, and then
This little.
I was
shady
going
town.
into grad school. She was getting a job at the place that I was going to grad school, and couldn't find an apartment, so we stayed in a bedroom at my parents for like
The first 2 months. I
2
think.
months.
We found an
That's
apartment,
not
it just
easy.
wasn't ready.
That
you know,
wasn't
so,
easy.
No,
That wasn't easy at all. But anyhow,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
lots of stories.
So we
Yeah.
dated, really, it was.
Dated for
6
quite a while.
yeah,
We knew
6
each other
years before we
pretty
got
well.
married, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Important.
So you guys, as I told you, we're going through a series on dating and relationships. So what are some ways that, in the years that you guys have lived, what are some ways dating is the same today as it was back when you were, you know, the age of these students, and what are some ways you think it's different?
I would say the ways that it's different is, it's this right here. This is like having another person when you're out on a date, or when you're with your family or friends. You know, when we didn't have any of that, you had your,
There wasn't an internet really.
no.
I mean, I
remember
know that'll sound like nuts to you guys, but I
You know,
mean,
you had your phone that you pull the cord so you could go down, and sit on the basement steps so you could have some
well, and you had a
privacy.
party line.
We did have a
Yeah.
party line.
You know what a party line is on a phone? Like,
Sounds
we
fun.
had, it was a phone that's on the wall, you know, so you talk on the phone, but a party line is multiple houses have the same line, so you could pick it up and the neighbor could be on the line, you're like, oh,
You'd have to
sorry.
just wait
And then
until
you have to
they-
wait until they're not on the line anymore, and you're like, okay, now I can make a phone call.
Yeah.
That's
So
a
your
party
neighbors
line.
can listen to your
That's a party line.
That's a party line.
That's how it was. We're old.
Hey, how would you guys like that?
Well, when.
That's like a Facebook post today.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, right.
When I would call him at college, there was one payphone.
We
And
line
so-
up for the payphone in college, like, will you get done? I mean, you've been on the phone for like, 15 minutes.
So I would call, and if someone happened to be in the hallway and they'd answer, I'd be like, hey, is Jay Tompkins there? They'd be like, I don't know, and they might yell down the hall. But, so
Yeah.
I think technology really is huge. You
Yeah.
know, when, we do sound like we're old back in our day.
But we're
We're
really,
really not, I'm 62, I'm 64, which might seem old to you, but really, as you get older, it's not old.
Yeah.
we don't feel old.
But,
So yeah, I think social media is a huge,
yeah,
huge
because
difference.
really, you'd go out on a date and you'd go to a pizza place or go whatever. You didn't have any, it was you, it was just
Yeah.
enough,
You had to talk.
and you had to talk.
Yeah.
You know, I think we will, drive down.
Which talking is a really big thing.
It is, it's huge.
Communication is huge.
Yeah, very
Huge.
important.
I'm not a good communicator.
Oh, you're better.
I've gotten better. But part of that is the family, like how you're raised. Like my house was, we're not communicators in my house. In her house,
Wasn't,
they are
well,
communicators.
yeah, now, yeah.
all the time.
Growing up, my family, my parents weren't communicators, but, yeah, I learned you need to talk and communicate.
Yeah.
Stuffing is not a good thing, cause it'll come back up.
But back to your question, I
Yeah.
think one of the things that's probably still the same is, when you're dating, I don't even know if you call it dating anymore, but as you're dating, I always say that you always are wearing a mask. You're like,
Best behavior.
you're like, oh, I wanna meet the person for coffee or whatever you do these days, but it's like, you are on your best behavior. Everything is gonna be as perfect as you can make it. So you're not like being
Yourself.
real. Like we were dating one time and like we
First
go
of
out,
all.
we were gonna go to a movie and we got like we call them hoagies up north, but a
Subs.
sub, like a meatball sub. Like, oh, what do you wanna eat?
I think it was like one of the first like eating out type things.
She's like, nothing. I'm not gonna eat, no, I can't eat anything, cause how could I possibly eat in front of you?
This does
So,
have
I
fun.
get a meatball sub. This is true story.
It is.
Meatball sub, and then I had to go to the bathroom. I came back, it was gone. She ate it.
It did.
Yeah, she did. So she was starving,
But
but she would not say that she was starving.
But you took a little too long, and I got hungry.
Yeah, but all that to
Listen to
say,
that.
there's things that, you know, you do and you try to present yourself as you think that they would want to see you. And you just play this facade or this mask.
So you have to be yourself,
Don't do that.
yes.
Try not to do that.
Yeah. So what were a couple of like the struggles you guys had when you were dating that people might still face today?
What'd you say?
I think maybe differences in family, like differences in family, like if I came home 5 minutes late,
2 minutes later.
I was like grounded for 3 weeks, you know, and her family was not like that.
I was the youngest of 5 though, so you have to realize, my sister who was 15 years older than me, like if she was a minute late, even when she was in college, she was grounded. My family, I didn't get in any trouble.
Yeah, she's
so
like, what,
I-
you're
yeah,
grounded,
I
you
was-
know, I mean,
it was
like,
pretty lenient,
I
yeah.
don't, you know, what am I gonna do? I mean,
Yeah.
so, but there's a lot of differences in family and a lot of
Mhm.
differences in rules and things between each family that, can cause tension.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think, you know, friends, I think it's really important, you know, if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, you know, that you, still maintain this person, like for Jay and I, you know, that's who God brought us together, so, you know, it's important, I say that because you guys might date somebody, but that person might not be in your life forever. And so but you might put your friendships aside because you wanna spend time with this girl or this guy. When really, you need a balance, you need to
Yeah,
continue
keep your
those
friends.
friends and,
Yeah.
because that is very important, even to today, you know.
Yeah.
So next Sunday, our topic is gonna be boundaries, like good boundaries to have in dating. So what would you guys say are some good, healthy, godly boundaries to have in a dating relationship?
I'd say physical.
Yeah, and I think, you know what, it might be an uncomfortable conversation, but you guys need to have a game plan, you know? You might be dating someone
Yeah.
and your head might overrule your heart, or your heart might overrule your head. You need to be really thinking about where your boundaries are physically, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
when it gets to this point, what am I gonna do?
Yeah, you know.
What's my, like, exit strategy, or how am I
Yeah.
gonna get out of this? Like,
Cause that's very important, because, it's a precious thing. And so you
Yeah.
just, I think you need to have.
yeah,
really
you have to
boundaries.
figure out where you are gonna draw the line. Will you, you know, I mean, hold hands, then kiss, then
Yeah.
next and next and next. I mean, at what point are you gonna say, I'm not going any further than this? Cause each step you take makes it almost easier to wanna go to the next step, and then the next step. And
Our,
it
our
goes really
daughter,
quick.
when she got married, she dated her husband for a year or so.
Yeah.
They met at YWAM, which is Youth with a Mission, and they just vowed, you know, like we'll hold hands, but they never kissed until their wedding. But that was a boundary that they put on themselves. So, you know, but those are the things that you have to look at what's important, because God wants only the best for you. And so boundaries are really
And
important.
any one of those things physically you do, you don't ever
Get back.
get it back. The first of whatever it is,
Yeah.
each step, you don't ever get that back.
So,
No, that's great, thank you.
you're welcome.
Just a couple more before, because we're close on being out of time, but, what would you guys encourage our youth with as far as priorities when they consider, you know, most of them are not dating now, but when considering in the future to enter into a dating relationship, what do you think are some good standards or priorities to have?
I think, to me, the best thing is as you're hanging out with friends and stuff, like, you start to like, oh, I think so-and-so would be, just keep it at that kind of front level for a while until cause that's when you see them that they're more real. Cause as soon as it becomes more like the dating thing, then, you know, you wanna look your best, you wanna do all these things. So I think you wanna do that.
I think what's so important is to be like-minded, and
Yeah.
to have someone who loves Jesus as much as you do. because, you know, we all want to be liked. We, you know, especially I remember being in high school, you know, you want everyone to like you. You want,
You do a lot of crazy things to get people to
but
like you.
really in the end, you know, as you live your life, it's really between you and Jesus. Your friends in high school, they leave. Those hot guys or those cute girls, they get older and gray and, you know. So, you know, you really have to be true to yourself. It's your relationship. That's a huge priority. It's just
Yeah.
really be true to yourself and not worry about what other people like, oh, she goes to small or Bible study or she goes to church. You have to be true to yourself and who God has called you to be. I think that's a huge priority.
Yeah, I'd say, so, full disclosure, so I was not a believer. So when I was a kid, I was a
Good
church
church
going boy. I mean, I went to church every Sunday and all that. But then as I got to college, I really moved away from my faith. I mean, I grew up we grew up in major denominations like Methodist, Lutheran, and they really didn't talk about a personal relationship with Jesus at all. That was just not talked about. So you were saved at a
Early,
young
yeah.
age, and I was not, but I was, you know, the Bible was a cool book. And then as I got into college, I got really drifted away in the sciences and stuff, and then I got saved at 35. But looking back, if I was to kind of say what you really, huge difference to be equally yoked, to find someone who is a believer.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not a believer and you're gonna think, well, it's okay, I'm gonna get them there. They'll get saved. You have no control. You want them to be believers when you are dating.
Yeah, makes
Yeah.
a huge difference.
Yeah, thank you guys. One final
Yeah.
question. What would you give as, you know, your biggest piece of advice or counsel to our youth when it comes to dating and relationships?
Well, again, go ahead. You're gonna say something?
I'd say take it slow.
Be friends.
Be patient,
Yeah.
as hard as that is, because there's all kinds of things that are gonna cause you to wanna go fast. But take it slow. Of course, that's coming from a couple that got married at such a young age, but I would say take it slow. And, you know, there's things that you just don't understand. I mean, when I was 16, I was like, I don't know why I'm still in this house. I'm ready to go. I mean, I'm ready to be independent. I know it all. And I didn't know but what you don't understand is like that other person, somebody said it earlier.
Yeah,
you don't know what you don't know. Is what you know for a family is your family. You have no idea what that other person knows for a family. And you both bring stuff that you have no idea. So take it slow. Learn what that stuff is. What's their family?
Yeah, be friends.
Because
Be
that has
really-
a huge impact on who they are and how they behave.
Yeah, no, I think it's very important. And really, marriage or dating, it's friendship. I mean, you need to get to know that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta love them, you gotta like them too.
That's
Yeah, right.
But
Sure helps.
sometimes, yeah.
He
Sometimes you
must
might
be
not
married.
like them, but you love them anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you guys so much.
And go to the Ark. We've been to the Ark.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna
It's
love it.
fantastic.
Awesome.
It's like you walk around and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
I
puts a
never
lot
thought
in.
about that. I never thought about how they did that on
So
the Ark.
Nice.
Very cool.
Thank you guys.
You're welcome.
Hey, so guys, they have so much wisdom, and if there's any questions that came to your mind, maybe one question came to your mind that came to mind is they both said, I kind of knew they were the one. A good question is maybe, how did you know? You know, that's a question that a lot of people ask. So if you have any questions for them, you know, feel free to ask them after, okay?
Anytime.
Let's pray. Lord, I just thank you so much for this time and